I'll say, explain to your listeners that that people wonder, why did we need to suppress ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine? These are well-established drugs with well-established safety profiles that have billions of doses have been given. Ivermectin is a human drug. It also works on horses, but it won the Nobel Prize because it works so well on human beings. Mm-hmm. Tony Fauci's problem was this. There's a little-known federal law that says you cannot give an emergency use authorization to a vaccine if there is any medication approved for any purpose that is shown effective against the target disease. So if Tony Fauci or anybody had admitted that hydroxychloroquine or ivermectin are effective against COVID, it would have been illegal for them to give the emergency use authorizations to the vaccines, and they could never have gotten them approved. And it would have been, a 200 billion enterprise that would have collapsed.
That is fascinating. I mean, I have been covering this very closely now for all of the 2 years. That's the first I've heard that. I mean, in your book. So he would not have gotten emergency use authorization for the vaccine if the medical community had been saying ivermectin works, it is an effective treatment for COVID.
Well, the medical community, a lot of it was saying that. I mean, there's 17,000 doctors who've signed a petition, and there are so many peer-reviewed publications now that consistently say that, but he had to aggressively crusade against it to kind of drown out those reports by saying it's a horse medication, it's, people are taking it and it's dangerous and it's overdosing people. And,
well, why did he keep saying it? Why did he keep saying it after he got his authorization?
Well, even if you have the emergency use authorization, the law appears to say you can't have it anymore if there's a functioning medication. So, that may be why. Again, I try not to look in his head, but I do. There's a very, very strong incentive for him to kill ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine. And, there are many doctors, including Harvey Reich of Yale, who's one of the leading biostatisticians, epidemiologists in the world. Peter McCulloch, who is the most published doctor in the history of the world in his specialty. Pierre Corey, these doctors who've treated tens of thousands of COVID patients successfully, they consistently say, and the science supports this, that 500,000 Americans did not need to die.
One of the features of this fourth industrial revolution is that it doesn't change what we are doing, but it changes us.
The very idea of human being some sort of natural concept is really going to change. Up until now, the conversation we've been having is around freedom of speech. Once we can access people's thoughts and access people's emotions.
The focus, as all of you know, today is on what's now called the Internet of Bodies, involving medical implants and other kinds of devices that go inside your body, and all together with the Internet as a whole comprise the Internet of Bodies.
The Internet of Bodies, or IOB, is actually an ecosystem. It's a bunch of devices that are connected to the Internet that contain software and that either collect personal health data about you or can alter the body's function. We think of the Internet of Bodies as this collection of all these devices.
The biggest issue that we have in society right now is the transhumanism agenda, okay? The Bill Gates and the World Economic Forum and Klaus Schwab and, Ray Kurzweil and all these they've been screaming in our face for years. I mean, they started this in 2016, going public with what they want to do, right?
They literally say it to us. It's written. It says, here's what we're going to do.
They say, we are going to convert God's carbon-based life form, humans, into a silica-based cyborg system. And they've been doing that. And it's really, we're at a place right now that we need to take responsibility for our own health. We need to become superhuman. We started the first transhumanism research team. We have an electron microscope. We've been documenting all this stuff, all these changes right now on the planet, and 10% machine. I can take blood from any single person, and I can show whether vaxxed or unvaxxed. I can show synthetic red blood cells. I can show hydrogels. I can show nanotechnology. It's everywhere. I can go get any toothpaste from Whole Foods, toilet paper, any cereal, anything. It's everywhere. They're spraying nanotech and nanodust, smart dust everywhere in the sky with the chemtrails. It's in the water supply. It's everywhere.
The FDA just reclassified meat as a biotech product. Yeah. Your steak just got grouped with lab sludge and plant-based, and they didn't even tell you. They changed the definition of meat. Now, real beef from a cow, the kind that eats grass, breathes air, and walks on 4 legs, is in the same category as stuff grown in a stainless steel tank or mashed together from soy and chemicals. So when the label says meat, you won't know if it came from a pasture, a petri dish, or a marketing department. And the FDA says that's fine, because it's all innovation. In translation, real food loses its name and corporations get a brand new market. They didn't redefine food to help farmers, they did it to erase them. Because if everything's meat, nothing is. And once you can't tell the difference, they own the word, the patent, and your dinner plate. Welcome to the future, where your burger was made in a lab and sold as beef.
What would you recommend for people that are in states, they don't have their real ID yet? What is your advice to them? What should they do?
So if you, so 2 things. One, if they have their real ID, and one, if they don't have their real ID. If they don't have a real ID, then they should never get one, ever. Okay. And if they are afraid about flying, they should go get a passport or a passport card. There are actually 16 different identification cards that are allowed by the TSA, and you can just look up acceptable identification TSA and you will find them all. You can also go to refuserealid.org and we have a link to those 16 different identifications. Get yourself a passport, get yourself a passport card at the very same time. Refuse the Real ID at all costs because they are setting up the system, the biometric digital control system, essentially bars, prison bars for all of us, and this net is closing, and we must stop them from doing it. So that's the most important thing that you can do. You should tell your state legislators and your members of Congress. So I have been to Washington, D.C., and they're like, 3 months ago, they said, we're not hearing from anybody. I said, we're going to change that. We're going to change that because it's all about freedom. We will not have freedom if we have a national ID card that can track us everywhere and control what we can and cannot do. And so you need to talk to your state legislators. You need to talk to members of Congress. And if you go to refuserealid.org, we also have just a place you can click on and just send some automated messages to your members of Congress. And please use social media. This is one of the best things. Share our documents on social media. We have, and I think that was being showed there at refuserealid.org. Yeah. Here's 7 reasons to repeal, but there's also the make a switch. So we have instructions to help you if you have a real ID to get out of the real ID. Now, unfortunately, I just heard from somebody in Indiana. Yeah, that's the one right there. Yeah. I just heard from somebody in Indiana who went to the DMV, and they were told, well, yes, if you never had a real ID before, we'd let you have a standard driver's license. But now that you have one, we won't let you. So that, I don't believe they have any legal reason or rationale for that. But this is the DMV's going rogue, trying to push everybody into the real ID.
All right, Twyla, thank you so much for your incredible work. I know you're in Washington, D.C., yes, putting your money where your mouth is, as they say, and meeting with your representatives right now and our national representatives to get to the bottom of this. Everybody get involved. Go to refusetherealid.org right now. Share this information. Reach out to your representatives. This is that moment. This is what really essentially the MAHA movement is about, right? Getting involved. We are involved. The government is listening to us. We want to show pushback. We want their phones ringing off the hook. That's how you make a difference. That's what makes change, not because you elected some official that's going to go in and do this job for you. You have the voice. You have the power. Twyla, thank you so much for this incredible information. We have a very active audience. I know that they're going to get involved today and start pushing and backing you up in the work you're doing.